We've now won 13 out of 14 on all but one Berserks. After that heartbreaker last time on my pre-move prank. 25 out of 3. That's pretty high. But we gotta go for it. We gotta go for it. Grand Prix. D4. So it's a little bit different than Sicilians. Than like Rossalimos in like standard Sicilians with knight f3 and bishop b5. Just because there's no knight d4 when the knight's here. And taking c6 is not strong. Queen b4 is a funny move. Queen d3 is overwhelmingly the main move, but queen b4 is a funny move. And it's actually quite good. I really like it. d5 isn't the best idea, simply because I think this was here. Simply because I just have queen b3, and then they've just got some pawns hanging, right? If they hit me here. But d5 right now, I'm mistaken. I think the line is to take it. So if I go knight e5, takes, they take my queen, right? So if I take here, though, do they not have to go g takes? Bishop takes, I mean, this is just a pawn. Is it just a pawn? Should I go knight d5? Sorry, I'm just adjusting my chair. Look at rook d6. e7, no matter. Queen e7, I have knight d5, very strong there. So queen, if bishop d7, then my other rook steps in the game. And I'm up a pawn. It feels like I have the compensation. Well, yeah, they're just getting killed here. Queen c7, knight d5, queen b8, take f6. GG. Yeah, well, queen b4. So they're throwing in this move a5. Of course I can do this. Oh, but then I would lose a2 at the end of some lines, so we gotta be careful. This was clever. Should I go here? Or a3? I think a3, right? Because queen c5, I think they'd have bishop e7 to hang in the game, take. But, oh wait, they still have that. They still have bishop e7, take. They go queen e8. But now knight d5 is my idea. Also for f6. Knight d5, bishop e7. Trade rook d1, or rook f6 right now. Take, knight d5. King g7. I have knight c7 there anyway. This should be very good. Hitting here. So okay, they can go back queen d8. It wasn't necessary, but I think it was quite good. Queen's very paralyzed by this knight. There's nowhere to go. I'm threatening knight e7, check, defended here, discovery. So what do you do now if you're black? Bishop d7, or step the king away? Now what? Knight e7, moves, and knight g6, check. Oh, or just knight takes f6 right now. Oh, that's nasty. Look at that, sniping in that way. Whew. Sheesh. Sheesh, we got him on the Berserk. Oh my goodness. That was, wow. We just kept coming after him. I want to see a computer analysis of this one. That was good. That was a good game. I'm proud of that one. I want to see computer analysis of this. Kept our Berserk streak going there, even above 25. So yeah, I was mentioning here about bishop b5 and the difference between the Rossalimo here, which is more common. Black in this line could allow the capture here, and it makes much more sense because a lot of the time for white they play like h3 and move the knight out of the way to try and play f4 in these lines, right? Like f4 is something they're trying to achieve, but the knight's in the way. It's kind of annoying. However, this is just a much better version for white because the knight's not in the way, right? So they can just play f4 and then knight f3, save several tempi and take some space very quick. So knight d4 needs to be played, or at least it's the main line, because in this line it's a bit different. They don't have knight d4 because there's a knight here, but here knight d4, and so we challenge that, and they take the bishop pair, But in exchange for the bishop pair here, we have a couple things. Better development, and I'm striking immediately with d4. I'm able to go queen d4, and typically don't go queen d4 to bring your queen to the center. However, in this position, they don't have the knight to drive my queen away, right? And so, in that case, like, for example, like the same reason why, like, in the Scotch or something, or in the Sicilian, right? Like this position, it's also very common, right? Like c5 takes, like, they shouldn't take again, because then the queen here is actually quite good, right? It's like actually just, you know, does all the queen things, covers tons of squares, and there's no way to hit it, right? But this is not a good idea because there is a way to hit the queen, right? So you're not supposed to bring the queen out because it's very easily attacked. But sometimes, like, you need this knight to hit the queen in the middle of the board. Here we're taking advantage of the fact that there's really no hit. So then my opponent plays e5, which is with tempo. But we play this nice move queen b4, and black here has a couple problems. So d5 immediately isn't very good. This pawn is hit. If it moves again, you can even just take this one if I mate. So they've got problems with the center if they do that. But also, like, so we have this square and we have this pawn, and both of those came into play in the game. So now we have 6, 5, and we castle. So the fact that our queen's on b4 and not on d3 is actually here very helpful. So we castle, and immediately we've got lots of pressure on d6. We've got our knight that would love the d5 square, and we have ideas of taking knight takes e5 with the pin here. So black has all sorts of issues. All they have in compensation, they have two center pawns. They have the bishop pair, but this bishop is not very good. It's on the same color of its own center pawns. So they castle, and I immediately go for takes f6. It's already plus 2.2. Something black could have done is actually lead with h6. It's actually not a bad idea to play knight f6 to take away bishop g5. This knight's very important because without it, my knight could live on the d5 square. If I can make this trade of just bishop for knight, often that's pretty good in these structures, just because I'm just trying to cement a knight on d5, and I want to leave my opponent with nothing but the dark square bishop. I don't want too many guys to be able to trade off for this knight on d5. So in the game, castles, and I take the knight, and maybe g takes f6 had to happen, I don't know, but it was quite ugly anyway here. In addition to the center issues for black, and this bad pawn, and this great square, they also have kingside issues. So in the game, bishop takes and rook d6, so I'm already up a pawn here. a5 I think was necessary. As I was saying, bishop d7 falls victim to me bringing in all my pieces and winning the bishop with that pin. Queen c7 or queen e7, I think it's the exact same issue. Knight d5, queen's hit, and then I just can just take this twice at minimum and completely winning. So in the game, they found this move a5, but I could take rook d8, but it's not actually very good because this a5 is a bit tricky because we get this position. I'm up a pawn in the endgame, but knight moves and they have rook a2 and such. So not the thing to go for. Queen a3, anyway, my advantage is greater than a pawn because after queen a3, we just hold everything the same, hold that rook, and the same issues for black. They can't go here, they can't go here, they can't go bishop d7 because of the issues I said before. They could go bishop e7 maybe. I thought that was maybe one of their better bets. Takes, and because my rook's hit here. But at minimum, I can just take here and take e5. Or, as the engine's saying, bring the other rook into the game, plus 2.4. So in the game, you're queen e8, and rook takes f6. It didn't love it. It wanted me just to go knight d5. Understandable. I think it has pretty much all the same hits, just, you know, without giving up a rook. Knight d5 might being considered as bishop e7. Let's think here. Just knight c7, allow this, and oh, well, you're winning back plenty of material here in exchange for that. So, but anyway, I sacrificed here. It was my only blemish of the game was that one. My opponent did not play too shabby either. 76 accuracy. But rook takes f6, so I go for this, takes knight d5, and they find the correct move here, queen d8. So queen d8 I think is quite necessary because knight takes f6 and knight c7 are both being threatened. All these forks, look how great this knight is operating, and my queen from over here will become a major player in one moment. So queen d8, rook d1, finally we've brought that rook into the game in great style. All the pieces playing very well, all my opponent's pieces are on the back rank. I already have a knight and pawn for the rook, which is already, like, which already would be enough just for, you know, opening that king. But also, you know, we have threats, we have all our pieces in the game, and lots of good stuff here. So we're threatening an 87 check, again, defended by the queen, and trying to win there. So my opponent in the game plays king h8, which was double question mark, actually. They needed king g7. And the subtle difference is the defense of this rook by this queen sniping from here. I actually am a big fan of queens on a3 or h3. when your opponent doesn't have that bishop, and assuming there's a pawn here blocking the rook, because often like they do a great job, often in several directions, and they can't be attacked from there. I'm thinking a very good example is Bobby Fischer's game, what was it, game 6 or game 10 in 1972 against Spassky. The applause game where the queen just operates so well from a3 with the pin here and with the pressure along this diagonal. So it can be very good, and something to watch out for, because here knight takes f6, the tactic that just caused my opponent to resign immediately on move 18. We're hitting that rook on f8, and we're hitting the queen here, so if they take, this is checkmate, and there's no way for the queen to move and hang on to the rook. There's just no spots. e8 is guarded, and the bishop, the issue is their lack of development. If the bishop were out, then the rooks would be coordinated, but that's not the case. Bishop d7, I could just eat that bishop. So, yeah, if king g7 was the better choice, nonetheless, though, so knight h4, so I think the thing you look at next here, if you're white, it's hard to find moves for black. It's saying rook a6 to try and develop, but if you're white here, you're trying to maybe hit the queen and also bring your knights, or this knight even, to the f5 square. Quite dominant, and the threats will keep coming. But in the game, we ended after king h8 with knight takes f6 because of the hit on the queen and the hit on this rook. GG. Subscribe if that one goes on YouTube. I kind of like that game. I like that one. Thanks for joining.